Hey there again, it's Mr. Ramirez. We're going to move on to problem number 2. It says, a zookeeper recorded the feeding schedule for a baby rhinoceros for 20 weeks. The table and scatter plot show the percentage of the baby rhinoceros body mass that was used to determine the amount of food given at each feeding as a linear function of its age in weeks. What is the best prediction of the percentage of the baby rhinoceros body mass that should be used to determine the amount of food given at each feeding when it is 25 weeks old? Okay, looking at the problem, I go back and I want to highlight what's important. Okay, now the one thing that stood out to me in the very beginning was that this is going to be a linear function. Some way, shape, or form is going to be a linear function. Okay, we know a few such as y equals mx and y equals mx plus b. Okay, the problem itself is more tailored to meet what I think is an algebra 1 problem. We literally just had this problem in an intervention class I was teaching. Okay, so being that it's a linear function, let's go ahead and let's keep going. The question asked, what is the best prediction of the percentage of the baby rhinoceros's body mass? That's what it wants to know. That should be used to determine the amount of food given at each feeding when it is 25 years old. So we need to know how much food is given at each feeding when it is 25 weeks old. Okay, so based on what we know, guys, we have a table and we have a graph. Okay, what we could do if it was a more generalized question is draw a trend line and then approximate what the number would be. Okay, now that's definitely a good way to do it. Okay, but they've given us a table with numbers in it. So whenever we have a table, we can go about this a few different ways. We can do the change in y or the change of x and find the slope, graph it, bring up a table, and then find x is 25 and the y value will be your answer. Okay, that's one way to do it. Okay, another way to do it would be let's use our TI or STAAR and have it do it for us. To me, I'd rather have that. Okay, it's up to you. Okay, so what I'm going to do is this. Let's identify what our x values and what our y values are. Okay, so whenever you have a time period of some sort, like let's just say weeks, days, whatever it is, it's generally an x value. So I'm going to put an x right there. Okay, whenever you have something that is not time, that generally is a y value. Okay, in this case, it will be the percentage of body mass of the rhinoceros. Okay, so let's move that over there. There's my little hand. I'm going to put a y. Let's move that up just a smidge. Okay, so I know what my x is, I know what my y is. And if I look over here on my y-axis, sure enough, the percentage of body mass is definitely a y value. If I look at my x-axis, sure enough, it is definitely age in weeks, which is a time. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my TI Inspire to graph this. On your home screen, you're going to click on New Document. If there's something in there, you want to say no, we don't want to work with it. We don't care. Okay, what I'm going to do from here, I'm going to go to Add, Lists, and Spreadsheets. Okay, I'm going to go to the very top. I'm going to put an X, and then right next to it, I'm going to put a Y. So what I always tell my kids to do is put in all the X values first. So I'm going to put a 1, a 2, a 4, a 7, a 9, a 12, a 14, a 15, a 17, and a 20. Okay. Coming over to my Y values, I'm going to start with a 20, a 19.5, a 17, a 15, a 14, a 13.5, a 12.4, an 11.6, an 11, and a 9. Okay. You can always go back and double check and make sure that you have all the correct answers. Okay. In this situation, I do believe I have all of the right points, should I say, plotted correctly inside of the table and the spreadsheet. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make sure that I'm not in any of the cells with data on them. I'm going to go to a clean, white, empty cell. For some reason, it just works better. You won't have any issues. If you're in a cell that has data in it, it will not work. Okay. Don't ask me why. I don't know why. That's just the way it is. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to push Control Dock to bring up a new page. From there, I'm going to go and add data and statistics. Then I have this weird looking scatter plot. It doesn't look like any kind of association. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to input my variables, which is going to be for my y-axis, obviously a y. For my x-axis, obviously an x. Now that looks something similar to what we have graphed over here on this side. Obviously we have a negative linear association if we were to draw a trend line, okay? But what I want to know is how much percentage of body mass will it be for 25 weeks for this rhinoceros, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put in the line that best fits. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Menu. I'm going to go to Analyze. From Analyze, I'm going to go and click on Regression. And I'm going to show linear mx plus b. Okay. Now, you can grab this and move your equation out of the way. And it is indeed y equals mx plus b, which is negative 0.544817x plus 19.8. Okay. That is your equation. Now, guys, that's all fine and dandy, but it's not asking for an equation. It wants to know when x is 25, what is y? So what I do then is I'm going to click on Menu. And I'm going to trace a line until I get to 25. To do that, I'm going to go to Analyze and Graph Trace. From there, I see this little X looking thing. I'm going to move my touchpad until I get to 25, which you're going to tap. Try not to go too fast because then it'll keep going. Once you're about 25, let's see what we got. So there's 25.02 and here's 24.68. If I look, they're both pretty close to 6. I mean, they're almost at 6. They're right there with 6, okay? And they're both pretty close to 25. So that means that my answer then is going to be F, 6%, okay? Now, if you don't like the trace function, what you can do is you can take this equation and graph it, and then go to 25 and do the same thing, okay? So let me show you how to do that, okay? I'm going to leave this at 19.8. I'm going to leave this at negative 0.54. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to click on the Home button. I'm going to click on Graph on the scratch pad. From there, I already have something in there, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you exactly how I did it. Control T. Let's go to Menu. Let's clear everything out. Actions. Delete all. Sorry about that. What I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to put in the equation, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and click Tab. Tab will bring up my f of x. I'm going to put in negative 0.54, okay? From there, I need to put an x. I knew that my y-intercept was plus 19.8. I'm going to push enter, okay? For some of you guys, if you don't have your screen zoomed out, you're not going to see your line, so you might have to zoom out, okay? So again, we don't care about this stuff. The line is great, the equation is great, but that's not what we need. We need the table. To bring up a table, push Control T. What you're going to do is you're going to go all the way down until there's a 25 on your X. This little column right here would be your X values. This F1 of X would be your Y values. I'm going to keep going until I hit 25. And sure enough, I'm pretty dang close to 6. The only answer it can be is letter F, 6%. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.